A good friend and someone who probably has more knowledge than me in many ways suggested that I use an opportunity and my voice to bring a new book to the fore. So I've chosen a chapter which I will read. So now let me fill you in a little on the characters and what leads up to the narrative that I have chosen from the novella. A Conversation with a Visitor to Earth, written by L.M. Laws. A person, maybe it was you, sat late at night, having closed down the computer, relaxing, looking out at the stars and the sky. The computer turns itself on, and then a little guy pops out of the screen. Yes, walks through the screen, like walking through a curtain. Then he starts to speak. He says he is from the future, an ET, if you like, and definitely one who has something to say to us, humanity at large. Relaxed and slightly humorously, he sits on the edge of the keyboard and then starts to talk about our world and what we face now and what from the future, from another planet, they see. A message that is in part painful to hear, but also one of hope, if we, the ordinary people, take charge and each do our bit. He says it's time we heard the truth from someone with no fixed agenda, no axe to grind. Oh, and a cartoon duck and the devil will find their way into the plot, so watch out for them and their unique humour. The chapter I have chosen to read is Chapter 5, The Ego-Driven Modern Society. He looked not at me but at the screen and seemed to speak to all. 2 cars to a family and maybe more. You wanted to change things, to have them all cheap. You wanted vacations away, to lie on the beach. You wanted things nice and tidy, no dirt or insect in sight. You are so sure you are right that you still don't believe, nor even expect your destructive, throwaway world to cease to exist. You scream for food cheap as can be. You demand your specials from exotic places over the sea. You call for more plastic to cover the food every day. Yes, you don't want to touch it, don't want to feel dirty because it is bare. It's nude. You demand your fast food in plastic, plus a tray. Even the British chippy had to throw their paper away. Polystyrene and plastic, petrochemicals, and all the byproducts created initially to meet your demand. Chemical stabilizers to keep everything fresh, but if you truly opened your eyes, you will know, for man, they bring on early death. You, yes, you, men and women of Earth, screamed for concrete so your feet wouldn't walk on the dirt. Yet never a thought, a jot, of the damage or the destruction you wrought. Now I could see my little friend was on a roll. Many had turned off, didn't want to know, but others, like me, were listening, although it would seem only I could see my little friend. Over decades, years, now every day, more children are born sick. In adolescence and beyond, more antisocial behaviour and violence appears. Alzheimer's and motor neuron disease in earlier patients is seen. More heart problems, obesity, and breathing troubles are triggered each day. More depression, more stress, more ADHD, and unheard cries for help. More cancer, new diseases, more virus and bacteria are named. The pill bottles stand like mountains and are always at hand. The blue one will help you. The red one takes your worries away, so you can live in ignorance for another day. Wake up! Life is worth fighting for, and so is this planet. It's time you all did more. You can make a difference. You can take a stand. With a few basic changes in your lives, come, take my hand. No, no, I hear you cry from the west, from the east. We are more civilized. We need these things to always be our best. We have to have more. We must always be first. We have to be bigger and better and worth more than the rest. We didn't create the problem. That happened centuries before. So why should we suffer by not having more? Let the kids and their kids make the changes they want when it's their turn to lead, and we have what we want. Now I knew how the others listening felt. I knew, like me, they were feeling a sadness, a smallness, embarrassment in some too, for everything they were and had thought were now my little friend's words thrown back at us all. Wake up, Charlie, Jane and Bob. Wake up, Samantha, and you, Sir Rob. The tipping points have fallen one at a time. You have been spinning misinformation and feathering your nest while you were sat counting your money and drinking your wine, stopping the truth from reaching the ordinary man. That was always part of your plan. It's too late now to pass the buck, whatever your age. But there are ways to change things, even in these late days. For those at the top of the pile you call your civilized world, they can buy anything they wish, or may, as many do simply, take it and laugh at the man on the street who is struggling to pay for the medicine to keep his child, his partner, or mother or father alive. Your system is broken. And when that is allowed to occur, it opens the doors to the change. The change is needed, the balance redressed, but it will not come without fear and pain. Tell me, what of your modern world, the civilized world, is worth saving? Tell me, and let me in turn tell you true, if you really are understanding what is worthy to save. Then I shall tell you, from our cosmic perspective, what we see. There was a buzz across the screen as people shouted their own answer, or, some like me, almost whispered their thoughts, as if to voice them aloud would draw ridicule from all. It was these, the quiet ones, which my little visitor seemed to hear, above the chaotic noise of the loud cacophony of irate sounds, demanding things did not change. Ah, that is a lesson you will learn soon enough. It is not always the demands, but the measured voice, the thought with more than themselves at the centre, which will be heard. The thing I hear the most within these answers to the question I pose are the need to keep the elements at bay, so that the balance of your modern consumer-led life does not fall into decay. To answer this, I already said, the tipping points are set. Now all you can do is mitigate the change by understanding and adapting before it is too late, for right now, it is in your hands. Your choice to make a stand, and in so doing, more survive. And learning to change is also good for the soul of mankind. Secondly, sadly the biggest cry, despite most of those who have already left being too greed-driven to stay. Yet the second question or demand you pose is for digital money and offshore accounts to be easier to get and harder to lose, even if the stock market were to crash. To those who value money overall, I have a slightly bitter news. It all depends on what you do. Or you may find the slate swept clean, and all will be brought to the same, zero. A time, which has happened before, when what you could do, and if you know how to grow food, will make you equal to the richest ones of today. But hear what I say. Bartering of wares and skills will feed the family and pay the bills, unless you learn now that everything going forward is indeed in your hands. He shook his head and then looked at me. The third thing I hear, the quiet voice, asked for modern medicine and research into virus, bacteria, and diseases to continue, so humanity can have a life with hope, even if they are struck down with an illness. That the doctors and nurses, the surgeons and researchers are honoured and given all they need to help them help millions now and in the future. For, as you say, they are special beings even in this modern day. I will put your mind at rest, for these are truly special and gifted ones, who, despite the constraints, and yes, at times threats, made against them to hold back truth on their work and discoveries, they shall never quit in their love of helping their fellow man. And this, as also goes for those who study and work with animals and the land, the doctors, the nurses, the health keepers of this beautiful planet. There are many innovations here you know nothing of, and many more which will be coming soon, and also later down the road. Many in the Western world will start incorporating wellness in their practice, treating not the disease, but every aspect of their patient, from spiritual and physical, mental and diet, and yes, also the disease. There will be more, a massive growth in the digital aid they can give, and also, later, maybe sooner than later, a holographic doctor may visit, so that those afraid of technology can see and hear a physical being. This, for psychology, and also for many of the lonely, will be the new face that really will save them. Yet I have here, too, also, to give a word of caution. Back up everything. Keep safe files, because if the internet and all means of connection via digital means crashes, as we have seen may happen, then all would be lost. Books, magazines, and backup files for when it is possible to reboot, should this happen. Reboot the new and smaller system will be paramount. Also, go to museums and ensure old-fashioned equipment and microscopes are there, for they may, for maybe a year or more, be your backup. Remember, past pandemics and ancient plagues were solved with little or no assistance and knowledge that you have now. Yet you learnt and went back to nature to aid in the cures. Depending on climatic change that are already starting to play out, you will need to remember this. I hear you all screaming, it isn't fair. It can't happen here. We are modern man. But it may, or may not. The choice is yours. So stay and listen if you wish, to understand what is coming down one future track for man. Well, does it make you want to know more? Below you'll find a link to my author's page and places where you can buy the book. Or, if you don't wish to, send the link to others. Let's ruffle some feathers. Get some conversations going. And as the little guy says in another part of the book, in one of his ways of each of us making a bigger difference, let's start a craze. Post it. I'm a bit of a dinosaur, so any who know their way around social media and can throw it out there, I'd really appreciate it. So why not come on board? Let's start a craze. What have you been doing? Either put it below, or below the book description in the link, there is a special email connection which gets directly to me and to the little guy. I'd love to include some of what you're doing here on Pop. Yes, Pop, a vlog place, which I hope to be using for a better future. Also, as soon as I can. I have some other ideas up my sleeve, so why not get out there? Let's make a difference. Each and every one of us can.